You're here because you're asking, are NFTs really art? And how on earth does it make sense that people are paying tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars for these things? Can somebody please explain this to me? I got you. I'm Mitchell F. Chan, and this is the first in a series of 5 video essays about the ways that art based on non-fungible tokens, or NFTs, are connected to ideas in contemporary art that have been around for decades. These videos are intended for artists and collectors in the NFT space who are interested in knowing more about how this technology connects to art history, or for people in the traditional contemporary art world who are wondering, what is this NFT stuff all about? In every episode, we'll talk about a theme in contemporary art. We'll look at some historical works that I think help us find meaning in the emerging body of NFT-based artworks, and we'll start a conversation about how those ideas can be explored further. Finally, I'll show you some works that I think start that exploration. Okay, so I think that there are 2 ways to look at the core concept of NFTs as a whole. The first way, which is to just look at these as collectible tokens, is easy. And this is going to be probably the first ever art history lecture that opens with a tweet from Mark Cuban, because he explained it pretty darn well in under 256 characters. He said, once you realize that the sense of ownership is the same for a digital collectible as it is for a physical one, you come to the realization that holding, maintaining, grading, shipping, buying, selling a physical good is a hassle. Okay, now I think that's a pretty darn concise explanation of the value proposition of NFTs as collectibles, like with Top Shots or trading cards. And if that's enough for you, great, we're done. You can skip the rest of the video. But if you're still here asking, is it art?
Yes, but is it art?
Yes, but is it art?
We're going to need a little bit more time. When we think about NFTs as art, it's probably fair to say that most of us are gawking not just at the artworks themselves, but also at this super hot marketplace for them that we're seeing. So there are 2 ideas in play here. 1, the idea that the experience of an artwork is not necessarily linked to a physical object. And number 2, the idea that the experience of an artwork is necessarily linked to the concept of ownership. So thinking about NFTs in this context is always going to take a little bit more time, partially because is it art conversations always seem to go on for a while. But we're going to try to crank this out in about 20 minutes using what I think is the exemplary art history case study for tokens as artworks. So after the break, I'm going to talk about Yves Klein, the artist who I think predicted all of this NFT stuff over 50 years ago. So let me paint a picture for you. The year is 1958, and you're in Paris, outside 3 Rue des Beaux-Arts, the site of Galerie Iris Claire. Actually, you're a ways down the block from there because you are in a long lineup to get into the gallery to see the newest exhibition by art world sensation Yves Klein. As you finally get to the gallery, you see that the windows have been blocked out with panels painted in an incredible deep shade of blue. This is Klein's trademark color. The entrance to the gallery is shrouded with a luxurious curtain of the same color. Finally, you've made it to the entrance of the gallery. Congratulations! Before you enter, the artist himself hands you a cocktail to celebrate: gin, Cointreau, and methylene blue. And you can sip on it while you enjoy the exhibition. You enter the gallery teeming with anticipation, ready to see this newest masterpiece by one of the art world's most celebrated sensations, and there's nothing there. Not even the color blue. In fact, prior to the exhibition, Klein meticulously repainted the whole gallery white, just to make sure the space would look as empty as possible. You stand in the empty space for a while, and a while longer. You leave, making room for the next visitor. Outside, some people who have been through the gallery are confused or even angry, but a lot of them are moved nearly to tears. Albert Camus is here. He's in awe. He's written a brief note for Klein: with the void, full powers. Whew, at least with an NFT, you have something to look at. So what's happened here? Has Yves Klein just perpetrated the greatest scam in art history? Is this the art world version of the Emperor's New Clothes? The answer, and I'm comfortable saying this definitively because I think that most people who have studied art history and who are a lot smarter than me would agree, the answer is definitely no. These invisible artworks, which would come to be known as the zone de sensibilité picturale immatérielle, or the apotheosis, the very purest manifestation of an idea that had been developing in art for decades. The idea that an artwork was an idea or experience that is completely independent of its physical container. It's an understanding of art that is probably worth coming back to in this moment. And these ideas might help us to think intelligently and critically about the emerging NFT space. And just maybe, some art made on blockchain and tokens can bring a new set of tools and a big group of artists into this conversation. We'll take a short break, and in the next part, we'll explain how that conversation about separating artwork from a physical token developed over the course of half a century.